it's that time of the week again. We are at the top of the week. It's your life, own it. Marie, and I am your host, and I'm so excited to have with me today the Own It family, the team of contributing writers, and they are business owners in their own right. They're advocating for a cause, and our purpose on It's Your Life, Own It is to focus on self-awareness, which should, when we love ourselves, lead to self-development. And self-development, as we get to know ourselves, we get to make that direct connection with ourselves. We begin to enter into a place of self-mastery, not about being perfect, but learning how to navigate, whether they're ups, they're downs, they're ins, they're outs. What makes you, what triggers you, what makes you tick, what ticks you off, and all that other good stuff in between. And so that's what It's Your Life, Own It is all about. And I have taken center stage with me this morning is Nathaniel X. Ross, Jeff E. Berger, Dr. Stephanie E. Reed, and Jacqueline Lulu Brown. Oh my God. I can't wait till we have a full studio and I can come out jamming like I used to. I music. Work that thing. Work that thing. So, guys, welcome. It's the top of the week. And yes, I'm full of energy like every other day of the week. And I want that energy to be transferable to you. We want you to start your week off right, start it off strong, to take on this world and all it has to offer you. So, guys, we've been talking. It's June. We're looking at men. Our focus is on men, how they're doing out there in the world. And so I'm on a spot. I'm going to start with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you were out traveling the world last week, so you weren't with us. Can you share a little bit about where you went and also share your heart about, men and what's going on with them these days?
Sure. Thanks, Marissa. I missed you all last week. Yes, I was in Istanbul, Turkey. I was actually there for a business event, a franchise summit. It's a first global franchise summit with regards to the real estate fractional ownership company that I am a global ambassador to. And it was very, very exciting. Loved the city, the Asian side as well as the European side, which I didn't know that there were two sides, and got to visit both. But it was a couple of days. It was fast, quick. Traveling there was like, oh my gosh, but that's all part of the journey, if you will. Yeah. So in regards to men's health and men's awareness, we just left May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, and now we're into June and celebrating Father's Day and men's awareness. And, I think that just a little bit about my story. Growing up, I grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and men were taught to, men don't cry. Well, you know what? Real men do cry. And I think that was something that came to realization really probably in my late 50s or so. And growing up, trying to be strong, being the foundation of, a household, or even for yourself, doing things by yourself and taking ownership and expecting to know everything, when the reality is we don't know everything. Men and or women, we don't know everything. And what I've learned is that through the years, it's really good to get a mentor, to get a coach, or connect with a community that is of support to whatever you're going through. And I think that is something that many men are afraid of. Through my coaching, holistic coaching for about 4 to 5 years, that is one of the things that I found most, that they were uncomfortable, they were embarrassed, and there's nothing to be embarrassed, especially when it comes to mental health. Men's suicide rates are up. It's really, really crazy. And we need to bring more awareness to men's health and the significance of what it really is, in my eyes, living in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So with that, I'm just going to leave it with this here, that for men who are watching today, who are on the live today, or who watch this replay, if you're struggling and if you're looking for whatever you're looking for, but you're looking for some kind of help, assistance, guidance, reach out. There's plenty of men. Nathaniel, is a great coach and a great mentor. And Marissa has a lot of other men that are, here to help as well, including, I'm going to say, the women. Some of the women on the panel today do work with men as well. So there's plenty of resources out there for people, for men to attach themselves to, and that's what I highly encourage. So remember, holistic mental and financial fitness is a true path, is a new path to true wealth. And true wealth doesn't mean money. True wealth is a combination. It's a formula of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial, all combined together, working synergistically together so we can thrive, we can enjoy, and we can love our lives. Thank you.
Okay. You are so right on. Love it. One thing you brought up was the thing that we should know. Like we should know how to do these things. And unless someone teaches you, you don't know. Even if you do know, you don't necessarily right way. I was working out in the gym, and the PT was saying to me, "Hey, Marissa, you have to bring that all the way down. So when you do this workout, you got to bring your arm all the way down." And I said to him, I said, "That's going to come in time." I said, "This is a muscle that has never been really used before. It's never been focused on. So it is going to come." Then the other comment was, "Form is important." So methodology is important, approach is important, following instructions is important. This is important. But if we are not taught why, not only taught by instruction, but taught by understanding why is this important, because of the results you're going to get. And so you nailed something that's very important, is that we have got to stop making people, and I shared this with Lulu in meeting with her earlier, when teachers, people who are of authority in someone's life, whether it's an adult with a child or someone who's teaching or in a position, what I've always noticed is that there's so much sarcasm and smartness and all this
Correct.
other stuff towards the teachee or the coachee or the mentee, instead of you say, "Oh my God, this is an opportunity for me to make sure that learning is transferred, right? That
Right.
the passing on the baton is successful, right? That it's not just thrown at the student, that it is handed to the student with art and precision." That's so important, because if we want to make a difference in the world, and we are said, the Bible says, "Be careful to teach, because you are going to be held to a harsher judgment." When it's time to teach people, we got to teach them so that they're equipped. And that means our men. We need to stop putting on them what they don't have the capacity to handle. We got to make sure that that's there and in place. I want to move over to Nathaniel, and I'm gonna. He looks like he's got a lot on his mind. I'm gonna let him share his thoughts. Nathaniel, what's on your mind?
Um, well, I'm listening to Jeffrey, and he really summed it up there. And Jeffrey, thanks for the kind words. Um, I've just been following what's been happening out there in our society, and it's heartbreaking. Um, and the things that women are saying against men, and the thing that men are saying against women, is absolutely crazy. And it's going to take people like us on this panel and those that are surrounding us to get a strong message out there that we're in this together. We're in it together. And we need what women have to offer. Women need what men have to offer. And I think I might be going out on a line to say this, but and I may get some pushback from it from some folks, but it's okay. I think we need to take the garbage, all of it, and just throw it in trash and figure out what works for me, what works for my partner, what works for my family, and then make those things move by doing no harm to anybody else. And that's just where I am in this point in my life, and I put that into my coaching practice as well. That as you said, teaching is a responsibility. But I've reached a season in my life where I'm not trying to advise, guide, or teach anyone that's not seeking it. If they
Amen.
seek it, I'll be glad to share it. Otherwise, it's going on deaf ears, and they're taking it and spinning it and twisting it and doing whatever they want to do with it, and they're messing up people's lives. Um, so that's my little 2 cents for what's going on in the world today.
Yeah, and you're so right. And those people who are not into the trauma and the drama, we have a tendency to digress. We want to move back, because that's not what we're influencing. That's not the environment that we want to foster, and we don't want anything that's not peaceful. And we don't want that. When you have, that's what Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When he talks about self actualization, is
Yeah.
this feels, actualization is not about perfection. It's about being in a place of contentment. You're happy, and it's not settling. It's actually a quality. It's a very good quality. So much so that Maslow argues that it feels so good you want to reach back down and help others to come up and self-actualize as well, to see this. And you don't want your peace interrupted. And so we want to be givers of knowledge and empowerment. But just like you said, I'm with you, Nathaniel, is that if you don't want to receive it, I'm good. I'm like my daddy. He's sovereign. Whosoever will, let them come. You said we need each other, and the Bible is very clear in saying that two are better than one, right? Two are better than one. And it says, "Woe to him who is alone, for when he falls, there's no one there to pick him up." Right? Then the Bible says, He says, "I'm going to make you a helpmate." So we do have roles. We are designed in a specific way. Women are designed to help. We are designed to help. That's why we always go when we're here to offer our help. We're here to serve. But God made all of us servants, right? We serve one another. The husband is to love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it, right? So if we could just get back to that place, and it's not just from a biblical point of view, but a complementary point of view, that we are not made to be in competition, but to complement one another. Whether that is in brother and sisters, that's fathers and their daughters, if that's husband and wife. We are here. We have all been made to love and to help one another, and if we get to that place, but the biggest thing is that when you've been traumatized, the most important place for you, the most important place to come back to reconciliation, to come back to any place that is good, is to get the healing that is required for you to return. And so I'm going to digress and go over to Dr. Reed, because I know that she speaks to this, on a more profound level than I do. And so, Dr. Reed, if you would share, what's on your heart.
As I was listening to Jeff and Nate, one of the things that came to mind was, in the backdrop of what they were saying, I heard, and this is me intuitively hearing, we all have a role to play, and those roles are interconnected. And one of the things that I share with the women that I coach is that there is a hierarchy of socialization of how we can live our best lives. And if we would be willing to surrender to the role that we play, then there's going to be less chaos. And I share that there is a hierarchy, and it starts from our Heavenly Father. Then it's the man, then it's the woman, then it's the children. Not to say that, of course, the ultimate role is the role that our Heavenly Father plays, but we intertwine those roles according to the precepts of the destination of the role. So a mother should always stay in her nurturing role. There's no reason why she should wear the pants. A man continue to wear his pants and not step into the nurturing role because he's supposed to provide and protect. And when you have that distinct delineation, then you don't have wayward children because there's no confusion about who's who and what's supposed to be done. And I think one of the reasons why we have such a disconnect in our relationships, whether man to woman, woman to child, is because we're not standing in our positions rightfully. We're skipping all around, and society is dictating what that looks like. It's perverse. And so when you have that level of perversion, then and people aren't grounded in their rightful position, then your eye starts to go, well, let me try this and let me look at that. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And if you stay in your lane, you're going to have better success in every aspect of your life because you're not going to be emotionally and mentally and spiritually confused and knocked off your square to have to reach for outside stuff. You will always know that there is an order, and the first line of business is to listen to your intuitive self, because your intuitive self, the Holy Spirit, the Father above, the divine, whatever you want to call it, he's always speaking. And he's telling you, no, not left, go right. No, not up, go down. But society has allowed us to not be obedient, not even to our own inner voice. And so when men have challenges that I've worked with, one of the things that I do is I share with them, you're most comfortable and most successful in your original role. If you get back to that, then you will have a sense of self. You'll have a sense of connectedness to your source, and you will have a connection between your family, your wife, and your children. Women, same thing. Stay in your nurturing role. That's how we were designed. If we jump out of that, I remember when I was a single mom, and I'm not anymore, but my husband used to say, babe, you have a bigger than I do. Bring it down a notch, because I was so defensive. I was out of my role, and I could never do that role correctly. I was the imposter trying to figure out how I can step toe to toe with someone I should never step toe to toe with. When you stay in your lane, that affects you emotionally. You get back to emotional balance. It affects you spiritually because you have a connection with the divine. It affects you financially because now you have a flow and the abundance can flow. And then you have a good relationship with your spouse. Everybody's in their right position, and you don't have babies, kids. So let's make it make sense. And at the end of the day, you also have health. You have emotional, spiritual, psychological health, and you also can acquire wisdom that way, learning how to pull from your experiences and extract the wisdom and leave the pain. Stay in your lane, people. Learn to embrace and feel good about how God made you. You don't need to step out of your role in order to be validated. You are most validated in your feminine role or your feminine role as you listen to the voice of God.
Yeah, that's so good. And I want people to understand, I'm crazy for Jesus, but even if you're not crazy for Jesus, just you gotta, whatever it is that you believe, you gotta believe it. You gotta study that thing out and believe it with your whole heart. If you gotta look at that doctrine and say, this is me. For me, it's Christianity. I am crazy for Jesus. I know what God is. I know my relationship with him because it's my relationship with him. I talk to him all day. I talk to him all day about everything, and I'm always asking him, check. I want to go back to what you said, and I'm so thankful that in my 20s, I don't know what it was. I don't know how it happened, but I just didn't succumb to the feminist movement in the sense where I gave up who I was as a woman. My mom passed away, and I knew she was really my substitute spouse. We call that a substitute spouse when we got to lean on someone outside of the marriage showing up the way that the spouse should be showing up. So my mom was always there that if my kids got sick or anything happened to them, I worked corporate, and that was before they had the Family Leave Act. So I was in corporate right at the beginning of the Family Leave Act and then putting that together so that if you needed to take off from your job, you didn't have to worry about losing your job. And so my mom would take my kids and everything like that. And so when she passed away, I was like, I don't want kids to not be able to come home to a parent, because my ex-husband worked like crazy, I worked like crazy, and my kids would be coming home to an empty house and they were still young. And so I gave up my corporate job. And because I wanted to make sure that even as radical as a woman that I was, that my kids still had me. And I'm thankful for that. And I took pride in that, to be home with my kids and to be able to do that. That was my decision. I for sure. You cannot let society drive your decisions. That's why you'll always feel inadequate. You'll always feel insecure, because your identity is in question, because you are not making decisions based on your own moral compass. And one thing about me was, even in my young years, I was not worried about what people said, who said what. I didn't conform to any groups. I didn't have a bunch of cliquey friends. I didn't have that. I made a decision and I said, excuse me, but who's going to be here for my kids? I'm gone. Who's going to help me? I knew my spouse. He's a workaholic. He's in software engineering, and software is all over the place. Technology is all over the place. He's got to focus on his job. So somebody's got to be here for those children. And I didn't count it robbery at all. And I am the one, just like you said, I got a lot of testosterone too. But I learned how to put that testosterone in check so that I can show up the way I'm supposed to show up as a woman, feminine. And I love my children, and I do it today, all hands down. Give up myself for my children so that they can be successful. And so I digress to say this, because this woman right here always talks about the divine feminine. So I'm going to let Lulu chime in and just share what's on her heart this morning. Lulu.
Thank you so much. And to my esteemed colleagues, oh God, I just love being here with you guys. You guys always give us something, these nuggets that you provide. I'm going to sort of take a step back and tap into what Nathaniel said. And Nathaniel, I'm going to make some people upset too. As a minister, as a reverend, yes, I think we need to take the indoctrination and throw it out the window. Religion is a big cause of this divide, because religion, in the sense of you do something religiously. I don't have religion. When people say, well, what's your religion? I don't have religion. I have a relationship. And when we as men and women learn to have a collective relationship with the Creator, God, Allah, Adonai, Yahweh, whatever you call your God. But when we are in relationship and we are coming together, but we've had so much garbage put in us. There's books out there, and everybody tells you, go get this book. You having problems? Go get this book. And here's the thing, and I'm speaking to the religious community, so I'll be in trouble with Nathaniel here. The divorce rate, go Google, go to AI, go to whoever you want, and see what the divorce rate is in the churches today. It is crazy. So there's no example. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some. I don't want everybody to get mad at me. But that example, if you're looking for that, you're not going to find that in today's religious institutions, because we need to go and throw, again, the indoctrination out and get back to some basics, like communicating with one another, talking to one another, not being so angry and denigrating. We know a lot of things brought us where we are. We know that as women, many of us did not have the luxury of, we didn't have any choice but to make our children latchkey kids. And I say that from experience. And so there is many of us that we wanted nothing more than to embrace every bit of who we are and nurture. But we didn't have a choice. And Where the problem comes is when you allow that to make you hard. And now, all these years you have taken and you've got all this masculine energy to now you're all the way over in toxicity. And unless we realize, hey, I did what I had to do, but I'm not going to be angry with
Yeah.
every man on the planet. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be over masculine. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be a woman because I love being a woman. I tell people all the time, I love being a woman. I just want to be a woman that is mutually respected, that I'm going to give mutual respect, and we're going to come together and we are going to, as Nathaniel said, define our own, call it process, principles, book of rules, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to define our lives for ourselves.
That's
And
it.
if my husband's going to be a stay at home mom because I happen to have, I'm making it up, I happen to have the law degree. And we know that lawyers have put in a lot of hours. So maybe that means that my husband is the stay at home mom. It doesn't make me any less of a woman because guess what? When I do get home, I can go into that nurturing mode. I don't have to bring the masculine courtroom with me home and come into the house like a whirlwind. And now I just brought all of that garbage. It's
That's it.
really understanding how to separate these. And I'm going to wrap with this last thing here. I had someone ask me, I have a retreat coming up in November, and it's to celebrate women that go through the Ascend Her Academy. And they said, what made you invite tell them they can bring their spouses? What made you do this thing for two? And that is because deep within my spirit, that is what we need. Because all too often we go on retreats and they're beautiful. Listen, I'm a retreat leader and I love being a retreat leader. But very often we bring women to these places and we give them empowerment and rah rah and look at you and you can do it. And then they go back home and they're full of energy and they're revitalized and they go home with all of that. And I'm not saying it's a bad energy, but they go home and the husband is looking at them like they have two heads because he doesn't have a clue what you're talking about. And because we haven't taken time to explain to him, we didn't go and pull out our little workbook and say, this is what I learned, and this is how this is going to make our life better. Because, honey, I'm working on me. I'm working on me to be a better version of me for our family and our household. Because the conversation doesn't start out that way, now you're at further odds and you're sitting here saying, well, I went away for a week and I thought I was making myself better, and I come home and things are worse in the household than they were before. So I said, you know what? It's for two. It's a two for one. Yeah, two for one. Come, because while we're in our sessions, you'll have your sessions in the morning, but in the afternoon, I want them to come together as mates, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. I want them to come together and I want them to share the experience that they're having so that they grow together. And when we start doing things like that, where we can make men inclusive and men can make women inclusive, maybe we just might be able to get in the room together and sort some of this stuff out. But if we're going to stay totally separated and we think that that's going to work, that's not going to work. Not in this day and time. We have got to come together. I yield the mic back to you, Marisa.
Yes, very well put. Very well put. I'm gonna back up a little bit and say, what's the undercurrent to all of that is falling in love. When you were young, you fell in love. Go the love relationship protected. And if you're married, you can still fall in love. You can still fall in love. It's your choice to let go of the past and come. It's up to us. You can stay in trauma or drama, or you can be set free. It's your decision. You can take the shackles off or stay in bondage. It's up to you. But the biggest thing that we're missing is the falling in love part. Because when you fall in love, you just want, babe, what is it what can I do to make you happy? What to make you smile? What can I do to ease the load? Because the reason why fools rush in is because you just overwhelmed. And you're just like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I got to get all of this off of me. You ever I know for me, I don't like going back to the car too many times. So I will load up my arm with the bags as much as I can. But by the time I get to the door, I'm ready to just slide them all off, right? And so sometimes in life, we're overwhelmed. And when we come into the room with our houses, we're just like, well, why wouldn't you even think enough to come and help me? Come to the door. Oh, you knew I was coming home. You heard the car come up. You do all of this. But the thing that I want to share is falling in love, listening to you. And then also too, knowing how to navigate. So, you say, I'm an attorney, or, I know how to leave the courtroom back there, all of that that's why it's so important to know thyself, right? That's why this platform, that's why we this. I'm always strategic and intentional. We start the week off with this is know yourself. Self-awareness is so important for how we are showing up in our relationships. If we want results, we have to be intentional, right? So we want results, we have to be cognizant. We have to be conscious in the moment. So knowing thyself is being able to self-regulate within the moment. So the only way that you can know that you're bringing, the only way you can stop it is by being present with yourself. So that's why self-awareness is so critically important. Know what makes you tick and what ticks you off, and master how to navigate around it, because you can. If you want the results, you will adjust your behavior. If you want to save your marriage, you will adjust your behavior. You will just adjust what you do, and you will become strategic and learning your spouse. Learn who they are. It's our job to know ourselves. And if we're coming into relationships, whether it's knowing your spouse, whether it's knowing your sister, whether it's that's how you are able to govern and determine boundaries. That's how you are able to determine communication styles, communication needs, or the needs of others. Knowing yourself is just the beginning, because when you know yourself, now you know how to navigate in all these different relationships and how you're showing up in these relationships. And you're good with still being your authentic self. You don't have to compromise anymore because you know yourself and you're comfortable enough with yourself. And so this is so like I said, every show gets better. So we're gonna wrap this up because we're at the end beyond our 30 minutes. And so I just want to go around and do a shout out. What's going on with you? What do you have to get these where they need to be? I'm going to start like I did with in the same order. Jeffrey, share a little shout out. How can people connect with you and what's up with you next? Nathaniel, then Dr. Reed, and then Lulu.
Sure. Thanks, Marissa. Again, it was great to be on the panel today. Always love sharing this platform with these amazing, incredible entrepreneurs. So, yeah, as a founder and the CEO of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, I truly believe we all should be living in abundance and optimum wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And today, as a certified coach, I'm really taking a finance-first approach to achieving all encompassing personal well-being by embracing new ways to wealth in the modern world. And as part of my journey, I'm a global ambassador to a real estate international fractional ownership company, along with other projects that are on my plate. And I'm out to really share awareness, knowledge, and insight to how this world is changing, because more people need to be aware. As Nathaniel was kind of hinting earlier, we need to be more aware of the true state of affairs and be aware So my journey now is really encompassing that awareness, bringing enlightenment. I'm on all social media. You can just look for Jeffrey E. Berger and look for the bald-headed dude. And, you can access me on a website, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram. I have a beautiful digital marketing brochure that the amazing Marissa helped me with and producing that. So that is how you can get a hold of me. And I still stand by today with holistic mental and financial fitness is a new path to true wealth. And you can also catch me at Mupo Entertainment because I do have a TV series. It's a syndicated TV series that I've been doing. I'm in season 5 now, and I'm really excited to share my guests and anybody out there that's listening, and even on the panelists here, reach out to me. I'm getting ready to do the list for season 6, and I'm looking for guests. So thanks very much, Marissa. And there you have it. Have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Okay. Well, people can reach me at nathaniel.ross@abundancelegacy.org, which is my nonprofit. And we're focusing on right now for everyone, but with this being June, we want men who should be taking their leadership roles in the household to get their finances in order, get the household finances in order. So we're doing a financial boot camp starting in July, and it's going to run for 3 months, starting the first Thursday of July, running for 2 hours from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The cost is free, but you have to register in order to participate in it. And we teach people how to get debt free. We teach people how to live within their means and how to invest for strategic financial stability and for wealth. So hopefully people will reach out, and we'll be happy to work with you to help turn those finances around.
Awesome. Dr. Reed.
Wow, this has been an awesome session. That's like every other session, and so I will make it short and sweet. You guys have seen me several times. I am on the cover of 3 magazines from last month. You can find me by just Googling me, Dr. Stephanie Reed, or Your Healing Place. I'm the champion for women over 40 to unclock their creative purpose. And so I'm wearing my gear to represent that movement. And basically what I'm saying is women over 40, you have a voice beyond what you created with your womb. That nurturing side of you can be transitioned into something else, because right now it is time for you to fulfill your purpose. And as long as you're traumatized and not living in your truth and talking dirty to yourself, then you're not going to find out what the next step of your life is. And so what I like to do is pull the curtain back of all the things that's stopping you from being the woman you need to be. Because right now, and I know that you're frustrated, you're angry, you're disappointed, you're sad, you're anxious, your health is failing, and everybody wants to tell you that it's menopause. Well, that's a lie. It's an accumulation of the stagnant energy that's happened over the years. And I'm going to finally help you dissipate so you can live your best life after 40. The first half of your life, you gave away to everybody else. The second half belongs to you, because now God is giving you breath to do something for not just yourself and your family, but for humanity. And that's where your fulfillment comes from.
Awesome. I love it.
Okay, I'll wrap it up with I am Revolution Ascension LLC. You will find Revolution Ascension on Facebook, on Instagram. You can go to the website, revolutionascension.com. But essentially, the main thing that I stress with women is really embracing divine feminine principles. And notice I didn't say feminist. This is not a feminist movement. Has nothing to do with feminist. This is divine feminine principles. Mm-hmm. And when we understand those principles, that is our seat of power. And that is where we bring benefit, because those principles work in our home, they work in our community, they work in our career, they work in our entrepreneurship. And most importantly, they work in all of our relationships. But
Mhm.
it's understanding who and what a divine feminine woman is, and how does that relate to leadership, because we are leaders in many capacities. And it also has a little spin so that you understand there's a difference between headship and leadership. We
Mhm.
may not necessarily be in headship, but we are in leadership
Leadership.
because many of us leaders come together, don't they? The
They
best
do.
leaders come together, they complement, whether
Mhm.
it's the hierarchy or the head, but powerful leaders come together and they make powerful impact. And
Mhm.
so, how do you get to learn all of that? Well, we have retreats that go everywhere from the Dominican Republic to Aruba to Morocco. And those are the ones that are coming up. And if you want to know more about those, then all you have to do is you can go to Facebook and inbox me and email me. It's real easy. jlb@revolutionascension.com. And I will send you all the links and you can decide for yourself.
Awesome, awesome. This has been such a wonderful. Also, hanging off the my seat, listening to everybody, almost beginning to close us out. So this has been excellent. This has been It's Your Life, Own It. Self awareness, self development, self mastery. That's what it's all about. We can't help you in any area of your life until we help you get to know who you are, what you're made of, and what you're purposed to do. And so we love you so very much. This has been a huge blessing. I love, listen, because we can glean from each other just in this live show,
Mhm.
our insight and our perspective. And so, people, have a blessed, amazing week. We will see you again. That boot camp starts like Nathaniel said, in July. You want to get your financial house in order. Money answereth all things. We're out.
Mhm.
Take care and be blessed.